This code sample includes a simple controller with one action, show form open. Show form open is an action that forwards the execution to this specific view, form open demo.php. This is the file. Now, when we give it a try, this is the output we get. Now, if we go over the code, we can find that the form was created using the form helper functions CodeIgniter provides us with. We can get the source code and see the exact outcome. So what do we have here? First, we create the opening tag of the form element, just calling the form open function, passing over the URL address we want to be used. CodeIgniter automatically adds the initial part of the URL address. Then over here we specify the attributes we want to be added. In this case we want a CSS class attribute and CSS ID attribute. So as you can see, we have them, both of them. And as you can see, we also specify the hidden text field we want to have. Simple associative array that specifies the hidden text fields. So as you can see, we have two hidden text fields with the names username and user ID. With the very specific values this associative array holds. Over here you can see an invocation for the form hidden function that creates a simple hidden text field. If you take a look at the source code, you can find it. The name is secret ID, the value is 123123. We can use form hidden function in order to create multiple hidden text fields, as in this case. This is the outcome. Now, over here you can see that we create a field set. Field set means that this entire section, from calling the form field set function till the call to the form field set close function, the outcome of these two invocations is this frame that wraps these two text fields. So creating that frame is just about calling the form field set function, passing over the string we want to be displayed over here, and we can also pass over an associative array to configure this frame, this rectangle that shows on screen. And if you take a look at the output itself, then you can see that we get a field set element. This is the starting tag, and over here you can somewhere find the closing tag of field set. Over here is the closing tag. Now, as you can see, we have the ID and class attributes inside the starting tag, which is configured using this associative array. In order to create a simple input text field, we just need to invoke the form input function. We pass over the name we want to assign to the name attribute. Now, if you take a look at the outcome, then we have two text fields, and the first one shows the first name, and as you can see over here we get the name attribute assigned with first underscore name, simply because this is the value we placed over here. In addition, you can find the attribute value assigned with this string, because this is what we assigned over here, and that's why we get this output. In addition, you can also find this code snippet, additional JavaScript that should handle the click event. We get it by passing over a string that includes that code snippet we want to insert into the input element. We can alternatively get a text field by just calling the form input function and pass over an associative array that describes this text field we want to get. So the other text field, as you can see, the last name text field was created differently, and just as you can see, we have an input element with attributes exactly according to this associative array. Now, using the form label function, we can specify a label for a specific input element, and this is exactly what happens here. Your last name, this specific string was created by calling the form label function. Here we just need to specify the name of the text field for which we want to set this specific label. That's why we get your last name just before the second input text field for getting the last name. Here you can see invocation for the form fieldset close. This invocation just sets the end for the frame, the fieldset we get here. Visually, this is the frame, which is the fieldset, and here you can see the closing tag. Now over here, you can see the creation of a text area. Very simple to create a text area. Just invoke the form text area function and pass over an associative array that describes this text area you want to get. This is the output, a big text area. Now, when you configure this text area using an associative array, make sure you use the attributes rows and calls in order to specify the dimension of this new created text area. In order to create a checkbox, just invoke the form_checkbox function. You just need to pass over the value you want to be assigned to the name attribute. Now, as you can see, over here we have a checkbox, and the name attribute is assigned with personal. As you can see, we also specify the text accept, so this would be the value of the value attribute. And as you can see, because passing over true, we get checked assigned with the text checked. In addition, you can pass over a string, which is actually a code snippet in JavaScript, to be embedded over here. So this is the outcome. Over here you can see the creation of a checkbox. Just call the function form checkbox, pass over an associative array that describes this checkbox. So as you can see, we have two ways for creating checkboxes. Just select the one that fits your needs. In this case, we have the second checkbox, discrete checkbox, configured exactly according to the associative array we pass over. Over here you can see how we can easily get a drop-down. Just call the function drop-down, specify the value you want to be assigned to the name attribute. This is the outcome, and as you can see, it is just a simple select element with the option child element. Now over here the name attribute is assigned with colors, because colors is the first argument. The second argument is an associative array that describes the options we want to get. The third array is a simple array that specifies which options we want to be selected. So as you can see, we get selected assigned with the string selected twice in two options. That's why the first and the third are selected. And the last argument is a code snippet in JavaScript. We want to be added into the opening tag of the select element. So that's why over here we get this code snippet added. In order to create a simple button, just invoke the form button function. So as you can see, we get a simple button with the text click here. This is the source code of the button we got. Now if you go over the code, you can see that we pass over to the form button function an associative array that describes this button. The name attribute, ID attribute, and so on are specified with specific values. So the output, as you can see, here we have name attribute assigned with my button. ID attribute is assigned with my underscore button. Value is assigned with true. Content is assigned with click here. So here we get the text click here in between the button tags. In order to create a submit button, just invoke the form submit function and just specify the value you want to be assigned to the name attribute, in this case our submit button, and the value which you want to be the text to be displayed on that specific submit button. So submit data, this is the text we get. Now in order to get a closing tag for the form element, just invoke the form underscore close function. It will create the form closing tag.